Okay, welcome everybody to the webinar. Welcome to our dBrown Consulting's Power BI and Excel webinar. We do these webinars every month, every third Thursday of the month from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. And last month we had our live meetup at Microsoft, and every quarter we do a live meetup. So we do a live meetup every quarter, and every third Thursday of the month we do this online webinar where we talk about Excel and Power BI topics, interesting stuff in Excel and Power BI. So for this month, but before I continue for this month, I would like us to join our POG group and our Meetup group. What's our POG group? Our POG group is called Power BI User Group. It's a Microsoft group, and we've created one for Nigeria with Microsoft. It's called Nigeria Modern Excel and Power BI User Group. Kind of the same as our Meetup group, same name. But this one is actually a forum on Microsoft where you can go and ask questions on Excel and Power BI and get free answers. So we kind of anchor that group. So all you need to do is go to www.pbiusergroup.com/Lagos. So that's www.pbiusergroup.com/Lagos and just register. It's absolutely free. You get lots of freebies and lots of interesting stuff there. You can ask any question and you get an answer from experts. And then also please join our Meetup group. That's meetup.com, Nigeria Modern Excel and Power BI User Group. We're almost 1,000 members now in the Meetup group, and we basically talk about Excel and Power BI, and you get notifications of all these nice meetups and all these nice webinars that we bring to you, as well as freebies. So you get big discounts and some freebies. Somebody's going to win a training today, for example. So let's just get started. So just a little bit about me. I've been using Excel for a very long time. I'm a trainer, a financial analyst, a financial modeler, a BI consultant. I also consult for the World Bank as well. But I run the consulting arm of dBrown Consulting, so I'm the principal consultant. And I'm also a master trainer and master instructional designer. And I've been using Excel for like 20 plus years. So I really, Excel is the main thing for me. But Power BI is so much more powerful. Not necessarily more powerful, but brings out Excel and brings out what analytics can do so much easily than other software out there, because they built it with Excel users in mind. So it's very easy for us to move from Excel to Power BI and then all the DAX and stuff. So anyway, so that's a little bit about me. But based on popular demand from our last webinars, you guys liked our interesting Excel shortcuts and tips and tricks. So we're going to have 20 shortcuts for you today, 20 Excel tips and tricks. But then we're also going to have 2 Power BI visuals that I'm going to talk about, 2 wonderful Power BI visuals. So tips and tricks and Power BI visuals, that's what we're going to talk about today. All right. So we're going to start off straight off the bat. What is our visual? What visual are we going to talk about? It's the number 1 out of the 20 Excel shortcuts. What Excel shortcuts are we talking about? We have one called replicate formulas with double click instead of dragging down with your mouse. Okay, so that's shortcut number 1, or quick tip number 1. Okay, let's quickly get to Excel and do this. Let's see. What would I use? Let me use this spreadsheet instead. Okay, so I'll switch to our sales dashboard. I'm just switching off the screen for you. You should see my screen in a few seconds. All right, so I have a sales dashboard here, and what we're just saying there is a simple way of listing out stuff. So if you want to put a formula somewhere here, for example, I want to do is equal to this times 2. Many people already know this. You come to the edge here and you drag. Now, some people like to just drag the formula down. Well, that's too slow. What you could do instead of that is simply double click. Once you write the formula, you just come and double click, and that's it. The formula goes all the way down. So that's the quick tip number 1. Let's go to our next tip. Tip number 2, quickly clear formatting with Control plus D and Control plus R. Okay, quickly clear formatting with Control D or Control R. Okay, let's see how that works. All right, so when you have, sometimes I type some few things in Excel, and I really don't want to see, that thing repeated many times. So for example, I just want to delete this. I've come here, I've formatted it, I've put yellow formatting, all sorts of formatting on this cell. And all I want to do is clear it. So sometimes what I see people do is you come here and you start reversing the format. Or at best, you probably click on this and then you paintbrush. Maybe you click on the paintbrush, and then you now paintbrush over this to clear it, or you press delete. So the fastest way I see to kind of wipe out formatting is either you just copy a cell and paste it all over it and it clears all the formats, or you basically or you do one nice shortcut, which is Control D or Control R. What does Control D do? Control D just copies what you have on the top. Let's assume you have something here. I've typed something here. If I want to copy this down, I just do Control D. It copies it down. So if I want to wipe this format out, then obviously there's no format to the left. I can just do Control R and just clears it off. So that's the shortcut, Control D and Control R. Now Control D and R also works this way. For example, if I have 2 times maybe let me just say 2 times the row we're in, yeah. So if I want to drag this down with my mouse, that's fine. That's the mouse, but I can also use Control D to drag it. I can just highlight like this and do Control D. Control D takes it down, just takes the formula down. You can highlight to the right and also do Control R, takes it to the right as well. So that's shortcuts, Control D, Control R. You could use it to either wipe out your format. For example, I'm here. I can just highlight from the blank, and just Control D, and everything wipes out. So that's the shortcut. Okay, let's move to another one. Shortcut number 3. Let me ask you guys a small question then. Let me launch a question for you. It has to do with, I always ask this in every webinar, which of these Excel tools and functions do you use proficiently? Just pick all that apply. Power Query. All right. So I'll give you the results of our, the results are 77% of us here have used vlookup, 62% have used pivot tables, 15% have used Power Pivot, 8% have used Power Query, and 23% have used index and match. Very smart group we have here. Really interesting. Okay, let's close the poll. Let's get back to our topic. So number 3, Bernard said that he missed the first one. Let me quickly do a recap. The first quiz was replicate formulas with double click instead of dragging down. So when you write a formula into a cell, instead of dragging it down, just where you're dragging down, just double click that. It's called a fill handle. Once you double click it, even if you have 1,000 rows, it just replicates for those 1,000 rows. Just double click. Then also, you have number 2 was quickly clear formatting with Control D and Control R. Yeah, just quickly clear formatting. So number 3 is quickly insert any currency symbol with this trick. Any currency symbol with this trick. Again, this was quite a popular one when people was trying to get the Naira sign. Okay, good. Your screen is up, I think. If you have any problems with your screen, just type it into the question box or into the chat so that I can stop. Now, if I highlight these figures here, I can come into my currency symbol here. You know, under Home, there's a currency button. If I click on my currency button, it changes my currency to Naira because I'm in Nigeria, so that's a Naira currency. So how do we get that Naira sign? The process of getting the Naira sign is to go to Insert, and then you pick the symbol button to the top right. You click on symbol. Once you click on symbol, you now need to navigate to look for the Naira sign. And the way to do that is to go to Arial here. Go and pick a font, a normal font, but Arial kind of works well. So I pick the Arial font here. Then I go to the top right where you have subset. Now, before you even do that, you need to check this Unicode hex. So Unicode hex here, this code has to be, instead of ASCII decimal, it has to be Unicode hex. And then once you put Unicode hex, you can now change the subset at the top. Now, how did I get here in the first place? I just went to insert symbol. And once I went to insert symbol, I got this box. Then you change this to Arial. You change the bottom right to Unicode hex. Then you can change the top right to subset to currency symbols. You're looking for currency symbols. And that's how you can find all the different currencies that are hidden, all these different countries' currencies, including our currency, the Naira, which is up here. That's it. Okay? So, and then if you see this code, you have 20A6. Now, if your keyboard has, if your keyboard has numeric keys, you can actually just type 20A6. You hold your Alt key down when you're in Excel and type 20A6, and the Naira symbol will come out. 20A6. So that's how you get the Naira symbol. Other symbols as well, there are all sorts of interesting symbols. All of them have codes. All of them have codes, and you can get them out. So this is 2592. So if you hold your Alt key inside Excel and type 2592 with your keypad, your numeric keypad. Now you can't use your simple keypad on your laptop. You have to use that numeric keypad that is usually to the right of your keyboard. If you don't have that, you can't really do this. If you have your numeric keypad, you hold your Alt key down and type 2592, and this symbol will come out. So it's always good to explore symbols, guys. So explore your symbols, and that's that shortcut. All right, super. Let's move to another one. Number 4. So number 4, going quickly, using wildcards with your search. This is one of my favorite shortcuts, using wildcards with your search. So let me show you how that works. How do you use wildcards with your search? Okay, let's go to Excel. Okay, so let's assume I'm trying to do a reconciliation of something. I'm not too sure what the name of what I'm looking for is. So let's assume I have a store here. I know that the store starts with C, the name of the store starts with C, and then probably ends with, I'm not too sure. It starts with C, and then maybe it has O in it somewhere, and then there's K in it somewhere. So how do I find that? Let me show you a trick. So the way to do that is this. You come in here and say, okay, I want to find. Or did I go? I went to Control F. I know it starts with C. Then I don't know how many letters it has, maybe 2 or 3 letters, and then it has a K. Okay, so what do we do? So what you do is this. You basically say it starts with C, then I put a star. A star basically means, okay, it starts with C, there are some letters in there, more than 1 or 2 letters, and then I put a K saying, okay, there's a K in there. So I have, it starts with C, and then there's definitely a K in the middle somewhere, and then there are other letters after it. So here I've put C star, K star. Let me just check find. Let's see if we can find anything like that. So I've clicked on find. It's found something. It found Orochukwu. But again, it didn't start with C, so it's pretty smart, and I was even taking the C in the middle. C star, K star. To check if Orochukwu has C, H-U-K. So that's something. It kind of has something there. So Orochukwu seems to have something there. Now, when you put a star, star basically means, okay, there are many characters. I know one of the characters, which is C. I don't know the other characters, which is star. Then I know there's a character K, and then there's some other characters. So if instead of your star, if you put your question mark, so what the star does is basically says, I'm looking for something, I don't know how many characters there are. The star just takes the place of any number of characters. That's what the star does. Now, but if I put a question mark, so those are the 2 wildcards you can use really, the 2 main wildcards. If I put a question mark as my wildcard, what a question mark means is it takes the place of a single character. So if I say look for C, question mark, K, star. What I'm saying here is the C, I don't know what letter is after C. Then there's K, and there are several characters after K. Let's see if it finds anything. Okay, you see, Excel says, nope, I can't find anything. It doesn't, I can't find anything. So that means there's nothing with C and a letter and K. So for example, I can see Aba North here. So let's just play with that. Let's say A, question mark, A. Obviously, that question mark is ABBA. And then let's say star. So what will it find? Let's check. So it finds Abaji. Abaji is a letter A, and then many letters. A, B, A, and then many letters. So that's how you use wildcards. Really, really cool. So that's wildcards for you. So the next shortcut, number 5. Number 5 is the same thing, but we're going to use wildcards in VLOOKUP. A lot of us don't use wildcards in VLOOKUP. We just use VLOOKUP. Now, using wildcards in VLOOKUP adds a lot of power to VLOOKUP. So let's see how that works, using wildcards with a VLOOKUP. Okay, so we have this table here. Let me quickly create something so we could use something for this. Let's just say, yeah. Or let's assume I have to do a VLOOKUP of okay, so this is my data, and I need to do a VLOOKUP. I need to go and get, let me type someone's name here. Let's say Salami, and this is the figure. So let's just pretend I do not know, I didn't know it's Salami. I need to look for Salami's revenue. Of course, we can see it on the table, but let's pretend that that's a VLOOKUP. So I know it's something. I'm not sure what it is. Can't remember the guy's name. So obviously I can't look for Salami. I need to go and do equals to VLOOKUP. And I need to tell VLOOKUP, do you know what? I'm not too sure what the person's name is that I'm looking for. I know it starts with S, and then there's an A, but then I don't know what else is in the name. So I put a star. So I'm looking for somebody's name that's SA star. SA star basically means, okay, his name starts with an SA, and then there are other letters after it, after the name. So I'm looking for that person in this table. Everyone, quite a lot of us here already knew VLOOKUP, so that's cool. And then I'm returning column 3 and 0. So basically, this is a VLOOKUP that's not a complete VLOOKUP, but it will find you Salami's Salami salary, which is this. You can see that here. If I change this figure, you know that that's the figure it's bringing up. But again, if you use wildcards for VLOOKUP, it's not foolproof because there may be many things starting with SA. You get, so it's not, you won't always get it right. So let's assume you even knew more about the name. So let's say SA, and you know that there was a letter, there were 2 letters, Salami. So let's assume I forgot the L and the M. So I would say question mark, question mark. So I have S-A-L-M, and then you know that there's an A, S-A-L, then M-A-N. So I'm not too sure what was in the middle. So this is still Salami, oh sorry, M-I. So S-A-L-A-M-I. All right. So it will still find Salami, but if I made a mistake, let's say I put more than one question mark here, that means I'm saying there's S-A in the name, and then there are 3 letters that I don't know, and then M-I. If I enter, you won't find anything because this is not correct. Because this is, Salami is basically S-A-L-A-M-I. So it's actually 2 letters in between before the M-I. That's why the question mark basically means there is 1 letter I don't know, there's another letter I don't know. But if you put a star basically tells you that, oh, I don't even know how many letters in between, but I know there was an S-A in the name and there was an M-I in the name. So that star just, if you don't know how many characters that you've forgotten. So that's how you use wildcards. Very, very useful wildcards. Yeah? So is this useful for anybody? Is this useful? Can we say yes? Can you type yes into the question box if this was useful? And you know you could use this for your VLOOKUPs. In case you forgot the name, you could just do a VLOOKUP like that with the in between. Very, very powerful. All right, cool. Thanks. Let's move to the next quick tip. That's VLOOKUP wildcard. Tip number 6, moving along. Protect yourself from data entry without protecting the sheet. Now, how do you do that? As in, obviously, you don't want to protect your whole sheet, but you don't want people to be typing errors into your cell. So that's your tip. How can we do that? Let's quickly show you how. Very easy. So let's say that this is editor's name. Now, this editor name is David, and I don't want anyone to edit it. So what's happened here is I don't want someone to come in here and then type something over it. I wanted to stop them from typing, but I don't want to protect this cell. So because what we could do is we could protect this cell, and there's a process of protecting this cell and not protecting other cells and stuff like that. But I don't want to protect it. So how do we protect this cell without using protection? This is protection. Under review, we have protect sheet. So the way to do that, I found the trick that you can use to protect the cell so that when someone types something in there, it will reject it, is you go to the cell, and then you go to data, and then you go to data validation. So you go to data validation, and then under data validation, you basically don't allow any value. You say allow custom. So we go to data validation, allow custom, and then inside the formula you type equals to, and then you just put your double quotes and put anything, some silly, just some random, right? Type some random things in there, right? So what did I type? I just typed that what this cell should validate. What data validation does is this. This validation says, I'm going to program this cell to only accept certain things. So right now I'm telling this cell, hey, this cell, allow only something that is exactly like this. Allow only this in the cell, which means allow only SF, some silly stuff. Obviously, nobody can remember this. But I'm saying that's the only thing you should allow in this cell. Now, it seems kind of strange. I want to just leave David inside the cell, but I'm telling data validation to only allow this. Now, the reason for that is when I click OK, data validation is now monitoring this cell. Now, anything anyone types into this cell, it will reject it. And that's exactly what I wanted. I didn't want anyone to be able to type anything. So I validated that cell with some real gibberish so that when someone types whatever they want to type, it will never be equal to that thing I typed, that random thing I typed, which means this cell will be protected. So that's validation. That's how we use validation to protect cells. So I could copy this, for example. You can see that this cell is not protected. Yeah. Let's assume I want to protect all of these cells. I can just copy this, highlight the cells I want to protect, and do paste special. So this time I'm pasting special, and I'm pasting not a value, you know, we do this a lot, I'm pasting a validation. So I'm pasting this validation I did here, which is the protection validation. I just paste it there and say, okay. So now these cells, if I come here and type anything inside these cells, it will reject it. So that's how you protect cells. If I come and type something else somewhere, it's fine. But anything inside these cells, they're protected by that trick, that validation trick. All right, so that's a cool trick. You could use that to protect some cells you don't want people to tamper with. All right, let's move on. Next trick. What's our next trick? So number 7, trick number 7, or tip number 7, is F4 to toggle references. All right, this is a very simple, cool trick. F4 to toggle references, especially for those that love vlookup. Okay, so we're here. F4 to toggle references. So let's assume you want to write a formula. I want to link to David, for example, and I want David to be replicated all the way down. So what I have here is called relative reference. When I enter and then I drag down, I will not see David all the way down because it's dragging it down. So if I press F2 to go into my formula, if you press F4 and keep on pressing F4, it toggles your references. So it kind of changes from absolute reference with a $. This is called a row constant, locking only the row. This is called a column constant, locking only the column. And then this is a relative reference. So if I make it an absolute reference and highlight it and do Control D, I've just dragged it down and the formula continues all the way down. Doesn't change. So that's tip, very cool tip. Okay, let's move on to another tip. So the next tip, tip number 8, is use, this one says, using the status bar for quick insights. Use your status bar for quick insights. Yeah, a lot of times I see we forget that the status bar has a lot of interesting insights. So for example, I have, let's assume that I have this table again. this table that shows my figures. Table is coming on the screen in a few seconds. So I have this table, and if I highlight this table at the bottom here, I have a sum, obviously. This is a summation, sum all my values. And then someone says, okay, what's the average? What's the average for this brand of wine, Sauvignon Blanc? What's the average? So what's the average? Basically, I don't need to come here and then equals to average and all that stuff. That's a waste of time. I can just highlight and then look all the way down here at the bottom. It's a bit small to see for you guys on the screen. But at the bottom here, you have average, you have count, you have numeric, you have minimum, maximum, sum, and everything there. So that is your status bar. And then your status bar has various options. So I can see average is 17,917. Now, if you right-click that status bar, you would see all sorts of options available to you. Lots of options. So these are all the things that your status bar can show by default. All you need to do is tick, 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 tick. And all I did is right-click the status bar. So try and use the status bar, or remember to use the status bar to show you quick insights into your data. All right? Status bar is really cool. All right, so let's go to the next shortcut. What's our next shortcut? Number 9, shortcut for replicating sheets. Oh yeah, I like this one. So shortcut for replicating sheets. How do we replicate sheets very quickly? So what I prefer doing is I right-click. I don't right-click the sheet and say move a copy, create a copy, which is a long process. You point your mouse to the sheet you want to replicate. Then you have to use both hands for this. And if you have an external mouse, it's easier. Once you point your mouse to, like I pointed my mouse to calculate, you use your left hand, hold down Control, and then hold down your mouse button, your normal mouse button. So I'm holding down Control and holding down my mouse button. Now, if you look at my screen, you will see that I have a plus sign. It's kind of very small, but holding down Control and holding down your mouse, using mostly your left hand, basically, you will see a plus sign there. Now, you just take that plus sign and hover up a little bit and to the right. Once you hover up and to the right and just release, it will replicate the sheet. So sometimes I want to replicate 5 sheets, so very, very quickly, I just do that. Hold Control and the mouse, drag and release, and everything comes out very, very quickly. Very, very smart way to replicate sheets. Let's look at another shortcut. Next one. What's our next shortcut? Number 10. Shortcut number 10 is quickly create an array to use in a formula. Quickly create an array. What's an array? When we do a vlookup, for example, and we highlight a table, we say, okay, vlookup this in this and return that. That table we're highlighting is called an array. So there are some times that you don't want to keep on looking for the table. You want a permanent table to look up. You can actually create a permanent table with this trick. So quickly create an array for use in a formula. Let's see how that trick works. So I'm going to basically do a trick where I want to create, I need to do a VLOOKUP for a month in the year, okay? So I want to do a VLOOKUP for months in the year, and I know I do this VLOOKUP a lot of times, but I want to just quickly do a VLOOKUP for months in the year. So how do we accomplish that? Now, the typical way to do a VLOOKUP for months in the year and know what month number we have is, let me show you on the screen, it's coming up now. So months in the year, January to December. Let's do that. January to December. All right. Now, and I want to know, okay, which month? January is month 1, month 2, month 3. So is January is month 1, month 2, month 3. Normally, I would do a VLOOKUP like this. Let me just highlight. I want to know, okay, what month is the month of April, APR. So I want to do what month is APR. You do your typical equals to VLOOKUP APR in this table. VLOOKUP APR in this table, which I'll lock with F4, comma 2, comma 0. That gives me 4, which is fine. April is 4. But why don't we just take this whole table and put the whole thing into a formula? So we don't need to always have this table. This table is automated. So to do that automation of this table, or to kind of extract this table all into the formula, you do equals to in a cell, and you highlight your table. When you should just do equals to and highlight your table and enter, it will give you an error, which is fine. Because when you press F2 and F9, it breaks down that thing you highlighted into text, into an array. So here you can see Jan 1, Feb 2, March 3. So there's some tables that will never change. They're just standard tables. You can actually break them down into an array like I've just done here. How did I do that? I simply did equals to, highlighted the table, enter, then go back to the cell and press F2 and then F9. F9 breaks it up, F9. And then once you do that, you Control C, you copy that formula. Once you copy it, you can now go into vlookup. And in your vlookup, you can say, hey, I'm looking for this cell. I'm looking for it in a table, but the table is going to be Control V, and just pasting your entire array, that thing you broke down, you're pasting it in there, and you're saying, give me column 2, or give me 0. So once you do that, you get the same 4, but guess what? This 4 doesn't need this table anymore. You don't need this table. So this first formula will not work, but this second one works. And look at it, it looks ugly, but you basically extracted the whole table, broken it down, and put it into a formula. And there's some tables that you have that you don't need to, like your regions or markets or stores or stuff like that. You can just break it all down and put it into a formula. That's how you create arrays. That's how you create arrays. Okay, so that was that shortcut or trick. All right, number 11. Make it easy to work with large documents by creating clones. Okay, interesting. Now to make it easy to work with a large document by creating a clone of it. How many of us have worked with large documents where it's such a large document, you're moving from one sheet to the next sheet to the next sheet? It's so difficult because you're moving from sheet to sheet, sheet to sheet, and you click. You want to be able to see the two sheets at the same time. Probably that would make more sense. Or you want to just do Alt-Tab and go to that document. But Alt-Tab won't go to that document, it will always go to somewhere else. So it's a bit tricky, isn't it? It's kind of tricky. You're not making copy, paste, save as, and giving it another name. It's exactly the same document, you're just making a clone. So how do you make clones? To make clones, you basically go to View. Once you go to View, you say New Window. Once you go to View and say New Window, once you click on New Window, what happens is it's now created that same workbook twice. It's the same workbook, but it's just showing you a view. How do you know it's a view? If you look at the name of the workbook at the top, you will see Facts 1. Now if I press Alt-Tab, you will see Facts. So I have Facts 1, and I can tab to the other documents. So if I check my documents, I will see Facts and Facts 1, and then Facts 2. So I have Facts 1 and Facts 2. So all these two documents running Facts 1, Facts 2. Okay, and that way I can tab and go between each one, go between each document, Facts 1, Facts 2. But then another nice thing you could do is you could go to View, and I think there's the next shortcut, but I'll just do it here. And then you could say, okay, do you know what? I want to look at these two documents side by side. So I go to View side by side, and then it says, okay, this is Fact 1. Okay, you want to see it side by side with Fact 2 or Fact 1. Once you click OK, then you can now see these documents side by side. So once you see them side by side, you can now do something here, Alt-Tab, and do it on the other document. And you can work with two documents, two different sheets for the same document at the same time, because you're looking at all of them at the same time. It kind of helps you work, especially when you're working with very large documents. And then there's also synchronous scrolling. So if you look at this right here, it allows you to synchronize your scroll. So if I scroll down, both documents are scrolling at the same time. So that's synchronous scroll. Let me show you. Let me maximize it so you can see what I mean. Synchronous scrolling. So when your documents are side by side, let me make them side by side again. Side by side, you can do synchronous scrolling just by clicking on this. So when I scroll down, both documents are scrolling at the same time. So especially when you're doing a reconciliation and you just want to quickly see that reconciliation on the screen. asynchronous scroll. All right. So we're kind of running out of time for shortcuts, and we need to do our Power BI visuals for the month. So let's quickly do one or two more shortcuts. I've added these shortcuts in one. This shortcut 12, we've just done it already. View clones of your documents, same workbook side by side. Just did that. 13 is keep an eye on changes in the calculations with the watch window. Okay, so the watch window kind of keeps an eye on certain calculations. Maybe there's a very critical calculation on one sheet, sheet 10, that you really need to check. As you're changing things in sheet 2, you want to be able to see the changes or see what is happening to that cell in sheet 10. So there's something called the watch window that you can use. But let me just move on to the next one, 14. How to fit shapes and combo boxes perfectly into a cell. I think we'll do this one. How do you fit them perfectly? So you're creating a small tool. How do you fit your shapes and combo boxes perfectly into cells? This is quite useful. Let me show you how you do that. So I'll just go quickly to our cell. So you see on the screen in a few seconds, let me assume that I want to create some combo boxes because I want to create a dashboard that really makes sense. So for example, look at this dashboard. Kind of nice, looks clean, but I want to put maybe a combo box. What's a combo box? One was saying a combo box. Let me show you what a combo box is. If I go to developer, I can go to insert, and there is this button here under form control called combo box. It's quite a useful tool. I can come here and draw the tool. It's a shape that you could use it and put a list into this shape, and then you could drive your model or drive your reports from the items in that list. So if I draw it, it's fine, but if I want to fit it perfectly into a cell, let's assume I want to fit it perfectly into these two cells here. Just here, I want to fit it perfectly based on the cells. I can just carry the box, so I click it, drag the box where I want to fit it, and then when you go there where you want to fit it, go to the edge of the box and hold your Alt key. Once you get to the edge of any shape at all, any shape, you get to the edge of the shape, hold your Alt key and your mouse button, and then drag. Once you drag, it's going to fit perfectly into any cell. Just automatically fit into the cell. Just by going to the edge of the shape, holding your Alt key and then your mouse button. You drag and fit into cells perfectly. That way you could click that, you can make a copy of whatever shape you want, and you could perfectly fit them so they're aesthetically beautiful and they're aesthetically pleasing, so to say. So you can fit them perfectly together by holding your Alt key. All I'm doing is I'm holding my Alt key and fitting them into cells. So eventually you build a tool like this. See how smart and neat it is? You're using the cells to fit them perfectly. So that's a nice shortcut. Alt and your mouse. Hold your Alt key, your mouse, and then drag. And once you click on the edge of the shape and you drag, that's how you do it. So tip number 15, how to quickly fill down formulas or values in Excel without your mouse. Okay, we've done that already with Control D. Number 16 says using smartart to build link diagrams. Now, I'll just use this, I'll give you this quick shortcut, which is 16. Using smartart to build linked diagrams. And then there's another shortcut that's number 17 that says how to make a live picture of a table for a dashboard. Okay, and then the shortcut number 18 is how to take a live picture of a chart for a dashboard. So let's see, we're going to do all this together. Shortcut 16, using smartart to build linked diagrams. Very interesting. Then 17, how to take a live picture of a table for a dashboard, and how to take a live picture of a chart for a dashboard. So we're going to do all those three now. So let's go to an application. Let's see, we go to the sales dashboard. Let's go to the sales dashboard and do that there. All right. So for our sales dashboard, let's assume that we want to kind of build a tool where I want to create a small organogram. So let's pretend that these customers are part of our organogram. And if you look at it, if I press F9, you're going to see that these customers change. They just change automatically. So these 7 guys are part of our organogram, and I want to kind of make it really neat. So I'm going to use a smartart to create a small organogram that is going to link to these customers. So if I come to insert, under insert we have smartart. Yeah, Excel has given us smartart, which is quite smart. So let's quickly bring that in, and then we'll see how we can automate that diagram. Let's quickly get smartart, insert smartart. So you can see smartart. You can insert smartart. So hierarchy, maybe. You use a hierarchy. You can pick any one of these, really. It doesn't matter which one. So let's say, or list. Let me pick this. Just for fun, let me just pick this. I'm picking this, and I'm saying insert. All right. Click OK. So look at the smartart. Now, this smartart is quite nice, but I want to use this art in a different way. So I'm just going to type, what you do, just type anything for now. Type anything. That's the first trick. Type, what you're doing is just typing randomly. Type randomly, just so that you can at least create the smart art. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let me do another one. Shift tab 7. Okay. And okay, so that's it. So after typing randomly, I've created my smart art, whatever the smart art is. Then the next step is kill the smart art. How do you kill it? What I mean by kill it is break it up so that the shapes can come out. I don't want to use a smart art because the trick I want to do is this. I want to click on this smart art and then go into my formula bar and then link it to my Excel. But right now, as smart art, it's a shape. It's not really Excel. It's a tool that works with Excel. It doesn't understand what I'm trying to do. So for it to kind of work, I need to kill the smart art. And the way to do that is click on your smart art. You will see smart art tools at the top. Design and format. Design and format. So once you click on the smart art, go to design. Then once you get to design, you come to the top right here. You would see convert to shapes. So click convert to shapes. It converts this to a shape. Now this is now a shape. This is not smart art anymore. It's now a shape. So we use smart art to create a shape. Then the next step is click inside the box, click into your formula bar, type equals to, and then click the cell where you want to link to and enter. And you just do this for every single one. Click your shape, click inside your formula bar, click equals to, click the cell in Excel. Then click your shape, click into your formula bar, click equals to, click the cell in Excel and enter. So once you've done this, you can expand your smart art, make it bigger, and eventually, now when I press my F9, let me make this a bit clearer. Let me make the let's just make the font red so you can see. Okay, it's not that nice, but anyway, you get the point. So when I press F9, it changes in Excel and it changes in my image. So you can see that it's changing both ways, which is pretty cool. Nice. Now, if you want to take a picture, so the next step was, this is my dashboard, by the way, nice looking dashboard. How you create dashboards really is you take pictures of tables and charts. You just take pictures and bring the pictures into one place, and that's how you create a dashboard. So if I create a new sheet, for example, let's assume I want to create a dashboard of one table and one chart here. How do I do that? Well, you go to the table where you want to create your dashboard. You go to wherever table is. Let's assume that this is the table. You highlight the table, and then you take a picture of it. There's something called camera tool. Now, if you look to the top left, I have it here, camera tool. You don't see the camera tool anywhere else in Excel. You have to bring it into Excel. It's kind of hidden. I don't know why Excel decided to hide that tool, but the camera tool, what it does is it takes a picture, and once your data changes, that picture also changes. But the nice thing about a picture is you can carry it around. So let me use the tool, and I'll show you how to get the tool. So I highlight the table that I want to take a picture of, and I take a picture. Click. So when I take that picture, I now go to the sheet that I want to use to create the dashboard. So I come to the new sheet, and then I just click. Once you just click, this is now a picture. It's a picture of that cell, those cells in that other sheet. But the nice thing is, if I press F9 to update my table, you can see that this picture updates. How did I do that? Let me quickly do that again. You just highlight your data, whatever data it is. You just highlight like this. Take a picture, click, then go to another sheet where you want your dashboard and click. This is now a picture. If I press F9, the figures update. And because the picture, I have all these picture tools. I can even put a picture frame around it. This is quite ugly. I can decide to do any kind of customization I want to do on this picture. Make it, you guys probably do something much better than this. But that's a picture. So that's how you take a picture of a table. What about a chart? If I come to this sheet, I know there's some charts. I have some charts here. Let's see. Let's look for some interesting looking charts. Okay, look at this chart, for example. So can I take a picture of this chart? If I press F9, you can see that this chart is changing. So if I click this chart, unfortunately, everything at the top here is grayed out, including the camera tool. So let me quickly show you how to get the camera tool. You get the camera tool by going to File, then Options. Go to File, Options. Then under Options, you need to go to Quick Access Toolbar. Quick Access Toolbar. And then once you get a Quick Access Toolbar, you need to change these popular commands to commands that are not in the ribbon. That means commands that Excel didn't give you. So once you do that, you'll see that all of this list here are commands that you don't really have quick access to. Can you see the camera there? Click, and then you add it to the right. So you already have it added, you just add to the right. Once you add it and you say OK, you will see it at the top here. But unfortunately, that camera tool works only with cells. It can only take picture of cells. It can't take a picture of an object. But there's a trick. And the trick is this. This object is really not Excel. It's just floating on Excel. So what you do is you go behind the object and you highlight Excel behind the object. Just highlight Excel behind the object. And once you highlight Excel behind the object, just like photo bombing, this picture has gone in front of Excel. You now click on the camera. So the camera is taking a picture of the Excel behind the object. But since the object is in front of it, it's like photo bombing the picture. So it has actually taken a picture of the chart. And you can click into your dashboard and you see the chart there. So this is not taking a picture of the chart directly. It's taking a picture of the cells behind the chart, which now shows the chart. Now if you press F9, you see that everything updates. And this is how you create a dashboard. You now come and arrange all these things in a nice way, and you have your dashboard. All right, cool. So I'm going to leave the Excel shortcuts for now. We're going to go to Power BI. I want to quickly show you two wonderful Power BI visuals that I really, really like. So I'm going to go to Power BI. So before we do that, I want us to answer another quick quiz. I want us to tell us which of these modern Excel Power BI tools or languages do you currently use? Can we all answer this question, please? So these are tools, these are power tools that are in Excel. And these power tools also, nicely, all of these power tools you have listed here are also in Power BI Desktop, which is the application we're going to open now, Power BI Desktop. So what Microsoft did is they used Excel to experiment on these new wonderful tools, Power Pivot, Power Query, Power View, Power Maps, which really enhances the power of Excel. I mean, you can imagine Excel can analyze 500 million transactions without any problem. 500 million. Yeah, we have rows that are 1 million rows, but we could analyze 500 million transactions by connecting straight to Power BI, Power Pivot, which is the data model. Don't bring your data in, just connect to it. So anyway, it's very powerful. So 47% of us have used Power Pivot, 18% have used Power Query. Oh, that's very impressive. So 12% have used Power Maps, and a whole 53%, that doesn't make sense. 53% said none. But mathematically, okay, well, mathematically speaking, yeah, it's correct. So 53% haven't used any tools at all. Okay, well, let's quickly move to Power BI. So right now, I'm going to close the poll, and then we're going to go to Power BI and I want to show you two very important visuals that you're really going to like. So this is a list of the visualizations that we currently have in Power BI. So if I come to my Power BI tools, I just want to show you two very powerful tools. One you use basically for predictive is scatterplot. I want to show you the scatterplot. So scatterplot in Power BI, for those that don't know Power BI, if you go to powerbi.com, Power BI is this new data visualization tool from Microsoft, business intelligence tool. It's a self-service business intelligence tool that has incorporated Power Pivot, Power Query, Power View, Power Maps, M, and DAX. All these things I've mentioned are already in Excel. Power View, Power Maps, Power Pivot, Power Query, and then the new language is called DAX and M. All that is in Excel, but we like to call that modern Excel. Now, all those tools I've mentioned have been brought out and included in this new tool you're looking at. This is Power BI Desktop, and it's free. Just go to powerbi.com and download it from Microsoft free of charge. So what they do with this Power BI Desktop in Microsoft is Power BI Desktop is used to create all sorts of visualizations, and you connect to your data model, and then you basically automate your reports. So this is a visualization, a standard visualization from that tool. So once I've created a standard visual like this, what does this visual do? This is called a scatter plot. And why I like this scatter plot so much is that if you want to show how two values in your business are correlated, for example, how is the number of times you go out to market and the number of leads you get. If you go out marketing a lot, you will see lots of people. It makes sense. So for example, look at this visual here. This visual is comparing revenue against transactions. So you can see to the left here, I have revenue going from 0 million to 180 million. And then to the bottom here, the horizontal axis, I have transactions. So this yellow thing here, this is basically Southwest. We're saying that Southwest had 13 transactions and made revenues of 34 million on the 30th of December 2015. So what you want to see as a business is, okay, how is this trending? What's the trend looking like? And right now you can see what I'm doing. I'm playing it. It's almost like I'm playing a game. I'm just pressing play. Now you may not see it rendering very quickly. It's kind of playing very fast on my screen. So it may not render as well on your screen, but it's actually playing, like playing a movie. And you can see that the dates are changing, and it's telling us we can pause at a certain time and say, okay, what happened here? And this visual here, this is Northeast. I want to see Northeast journey to 21st of January. Where has it been all this while? So I click it, and it traces how Northeast has been moving. So at one particular point, Northeast showed us revenues of 71 million with 27 transactions. So that's like the best performance for Northeast, and that was on the 5th of January 2014. So you can see the movement of Northeast all over the place. Now this is fictitious data. Your data in your own company will really, really make sense if you use this visual. And you're now comparing movement across regions. So which region is the top performer? How are these regions doing when you compare them with each other? So that's how you use what is custom visual. Well, to use this custom visual, I'll probably send you a link. If you go to our meetup page, I'll be able to send you a link to how you can create this custom visual. It's simply revenue, transactions, and then you're playing by time. You're playing the time. Another custom visual that I really like, and in fact we're going to build this custom visual ourselves right now, is a waterfall chart. So the waterfall chart is pretty good. Waterfall chart tells you a story. What has happened? How do you explain this movement in this figure? Because if you think about it, all that we do in our business, in our offices, is we do reporting, and we're reporting changes. Every day we're reporting changes. Revenue, how did revenue move from yesterday to today? How did revenue move from last month to this month? We're reporting changes. So waterfall chart does that pretty well. Let me show you how that works. So this is my visual, Power BI visual. For those that are not very familiar with Power BI, just go to our YouTube channel, dbrownconsulting YouTube channel, and you see lots of Power BI videos you could watch. So this Power BI visual has visualizations to the right and fields. Visualizations and fields. So all these fields are basically formulas and tables that I can use for my visualization. Let's assume that I want to just do a visualization of revenue for the last 2 years, and I want to see who is contributing most to this revenue from last year to this year. So the first thing I'll do is bring in my visual. If I look at it to the top right, I have my visual. It's called Waterfall Chart. I click. Let me make it a bit bigger. So this is my visual. This is my waterfall chart. It's empty right now. I need to fill it out with some information. So I click on the chart. And once I click on the chart, I can see to the right category. What category am I plotting? I want to plot years. I want to plot revenues by year. So I'm going to drop years here. I'll get years from my calendar table to the right. I go and pick year and drop it into category. So once I drop it into category, to the top right, you'll see increase, decrease, total, which is the waterfall chart. Waterfall chart shows the increases, decreases, and the total. So I want to find increases and decreases year on year. So I'm going to come here and pick revenue. I want to look for revenue. Where's my revenue on the data? Revenue sum. So I take revenue sum, and straight away, you'll see that I have a chart that shows 2014, 2015, and total, which is fine. But this 2014, I would like to break it down by maybe regions. I want to say, okay, which region contributed most to this profitability? Which region contributed most to revenue? And which region, year on year, is not doing well? All I need to do is come to my data model to the right, go look for a region. I'll go to this store, and I can see region. So I take region and I put it in breakdown. That means I want to break down by region. And straight away, you can look at the story. So look at the story this is telling us. We're saying here, okay, that Southeast, in 2014, it made 6 billion. In 2015, it made 7 billion, and it's increased by 5.64%. Also, Northwest increased by 4.51%. Then you have Southwest. And then if you look at this red, you can see this red that this is Northeast. Northeast went down by 1.88%. So it's Northeast that messed things up. So from where we started in 2014, this is how we grew. This is the growth in 2014 to 2015, and then this guy's dipped. This guy's dipped, and this is where we now. This is now where we now ended in 2015. So this waterfall chart tells you a story. Now let me take region. Let me take states. States are quite a lot. Now states, what this thing does very cleverly is this. It looks at your data. Since I have 36 states in Nigeria, you can't have 36 columns. It just doesn't make sense. So what it does, it takes the most interesting issues and plots them for you by itself. Like for example, it decided that these two were the big downs. It plotted it, and then it put. Okay, so it just plots everything and then puts everybody else in other. So this other is every other state in Nigeria, all the other 36 states. It decided to plot Bayelsa, Abia, Ondo, and then also plot Yobe and Akwa Ibom that told you the best story of the growth. Maybe these are the top growth states, and these are the top states that really didn't contribute, that went down. And then all the other states, it just puts them as other. It does all this automatically, and you can play around with the visuals as you like. So this is your waterfall chart, and then this is your scatter plot. These are all standard visualizations from Power BI desktop, and they're very powerful. I implore you to kind of explore these visuals, and then when you're presenting, tell a story with your presentation. Don't just tell don't do a static presentation. Tell a story, and based on that story, you'll be able to see more insights in your data. So pretty powerful stuff. Any questions, guys? Can you ask questions? So we're about to just have only 2 minutes, and then we have to call it a day. Any questions? Questions? This webinar happens every month, and we have a live webinar every quarter. So if you'd like to join us for the live webinar, it's coming up soon. We'll announce that on our meetup group. So please join our meetup group. It's quite important you do, so that you can get the latest information on everything that we do. So let's just quickly move on to, so we couldn't finish the 20th shortcut was align positive and negative numbers together. We'll do that on the online tool and list that out. So these were the custom visualizations. This was what was done in the July update of Power BI. So every single month, Power BI desktop updates. And remember, it's free. It's a free tool, but every month they update stuff every single month. So very, very fast the way they do things. So they update also. So this was updated this month. I think the best update was this quick measures. And then if you want to watch this update, just go to YouTube channel and you'll see Power BI's channel. So just go and look for Power BI's channel on YouTube and watch all the videos on these updates, and try and make it a regular habit of watching it every month. You'll learn Power BI in that way, as well as what we did is we used a new visual. We used the new waterfall chart option. That's what I showed you, called breakdown. I just showed you that option now, using breaking down 2015 by region, breaking down 2015 by store, to see who really contributed to our performance or who didn't contribute to our performance. It's very powerful, and that's a new visual that they added this month in July. So there are quite a number of visuals you could look at and just see how that works. So if anyone else has a question, if anyone else has a mic, you can put your hands up so I can release your mic so that you can have a chat before we close. Any last words? All right, guys, so thank you very much. We have an online course on Modern Excel. If you're interested, you go to officetraininghub.com, and Office Training Hub, we have report automation in Modern Excel. So that's a course which you can look through. Now, for those that attended the meetup group, I think we've loaded lots of pictures from the meetup that we had, the live meetup. And also on our Power BI user group, we'll drop the actual visuals that you can download those visuals and see how we did some of the interesting things we did during that live session. But check out officetraininghub.com. There's some free videos you can watch there. You can click on the free trial and just try the free trial. And if you like it, you could buy it, and then also attend some of these webinars to get some discount codes. So thank you very much, everybody. I think we're done. But this is the report and analytics course we have. And if you do attend our report and analytics and Power BI course, these are all the things you would learn during that course. So check it out. You can go online and see if you want to learn Power BI. It's a 3-day, very intensive course on Power BI. You'll learn all this stuff listed up here. And you also get access to the online course when it comes out in a month. So the online course will be out in a month's time, and you could also do the live course. So thanks, everybody, and I'll see you guys next month. Thank you, and bye-bye.